Let's make some French baguette. A baguette is a 70 to 80% hydration dough and does not use any enrichment while making it. Today we'll be using the raw Himalayas strong bread flour. It has no adulteration and has no preservatives. Start by adding 500 grams of the raw Himalayas strong bread flour and a teaspoon of table salt. Mix it together with the whisk so that it's nicely combined. 350 grams of water, add 7 grams of active dry yeast, stir and let it bloom for 10 minutes. Once the yeast blooms, add it to the salt and flour mixture. Combine it with a spatula until a rough and shaggy dough is formed. This recipe does not include a lot of kneading. Keep combining until the water and the flour form a shaggy mixture. Towards the end, you can use your hand to combine the last remaining of the flour and water. It's okay if some flour gets left behind. This will get absorbed during the first rest of the dough. Cover it and let it rest for at least 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, remove the dough from the bowl. Dust the working surface with some bench flour. You can see that the dough has absorbed all of the flour and is now wet and shaggy. Stretch the dough on one end and bring it back to the center. Repeat the same action for at least 10 to 15 times. This is an alternative method for kneading of the dough. It will help in gluten formation and also form beautiful crumbs. Adding small amounts of bench flour so that the dough does not stick to the working surface. Once the dough is stretched and folded for at least 10 to 15 times, put it back in the same bowl with some flour. Dust some flour on top of the dough as well. Cover and let it rest for another 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, you can see that the dough has risen a little bit. Remove the dough onto a dusted work surface. You can dust your hands with some bench flour if the dough is sticky to deal with. Repeat the same stretch and fold motion, but this time less in number. This time it should be folded around 8 to 10 times. Since this time the dough is a bit more pliable, you can do longer stretches. This will help in even more gluten formation. Place the dough in a dusted bowl and let it rise for another 30 minutes. This time the dough has risen even more. Transfer the dough onto the working surface and carefully divide it into 4 equal parts. This dough will make 4 baguettes, and you can use a weighing scale for this purpose if you want perfectly shaped 4 baguettes. Stretch the divided dough into a rough rectangle and lightly roll it into a log shape. This is a pre-shaping step. This will help in the baguette shape formation in the next step. Place these logs in a dusted sheet tray and let them rise for 15 minutes. Gently press along the length of the log from the side that is closest to you. Keep pressing until it goes halfway up. Place the remaining part of the log between your thumb and forefinger. Bring it down and fold it. Using the thumb of your other finger, press it down so that it stays there. Keep repeating the same motion along the length of the log. Keep dusting your fingers with bench flour between the processes. Repeat the same action of folding and pressing for the remaining part of the log. With the thumb of your non-dominant palm, press it tightly so that it does not unroll while baking. Repeat the same motions with the remaining baguettes as well. Take into consideration the length of your sheet tray and also the size of your oven. Then according to those measurements, roll your baguette to make it slightly thinner and longer. Place a pure cotton napkin onto a sheet tray and dust it heavily with bench flour. Now form trenches for these loaves so that they can rise in proper shape. Make sure that the divider between these two loaves is tall enough so that the logs don't stick to each other. This technique is called couche. Heavily dust the baguettes with bench flour. Also dust the napkin with bench flour, the one which you are going to use to cover it. Let it rest for at least 45 minutes. Score the baguettes as shown. Use a really sharp blade to do it. There should be 4 to 5 score marks and they should overlap each other. Lightly spritz the baguettes with water and bake for at least 18 to 20 minutes. A sure shot way to tell if the baguette is baked nicely is that it would have a hollow bottom and a beautiful crisp and crunch on the outside. The inside should be nice and soft with a chewy texture. Hope you guys try this recipe featuring raw Himalayas strong bread flour.